Many people will fight you down when you see that. They will tell you if you're not wrong, everything is all right. All right, we are live. We are live. It is Tuesday, as some of you, are aware, might not be. Well, you must be aware if you're listening. Now, I'm Mazvita Maraire. This is Casket. This is Seattle Sports Weekly on Rainier Avenue Radio World. And it's also Tuesday. Word up. It feels like I don't know. You know what? It's definitely what it feels like is fall. It's absolutely the fall time here in Seattle, and because you get the just all types of weather patterns, right? I mean, yesterday, today, and it rains, the sun comes out, and it rains, the sun comes out, and so on and so on. But I mean, we got plenty of stuff on the show today. Greg Lewis will join us on the second half hour. Yeah, legendary Greg Lewis to talk about the amazing game. The Huskies, it was epic win over Oregon. And it was just, I'm going to show you some highlights, and Greg will talk about that because he's a legend. And it was one of those games that was just epic. And kudos to both teams. I think, some of y'all, Duck fans, forget Ducks, whatnot. But a thrilling 36-33 win by the Dawgs. Because it was a showcase of football in the Pacific Northwest. And you're like, well, we know that. Yeah, but the rest of the country didn't know that. And game day was here. So really, the lead up to the game itself started Wednesday. So, game day goes to different parts of the country and posts up. They do their shows live Thursday and Friday. Pat McAfee, ESPN, all those things to give, so the audience from other parts of the country can get the culture of that setting, whether it's Ohio State, and they're always in the Southeast, right? Those, Alabama, those kinds of things. You'll see game day, but it's a rare appearance that they come out here to the Pacific Northwest. I'm trying to figure out the last time they were actually here. I don't know. I'll ask Greg if he remembers. But that's on the second hour and second half of the show. A lot of stuff to go over, just in terms of the Seahawks. Obviously, the loss to the Cincinnati Bengals, and 17-13 loss. And I'll be honest with you, I thought no loss is good, but it just shows it was good in terms of, they got Cincinnati playing well. Joe Burrow was injured the first few games for the Bengals there, but he was getting better. In the game before that, the Bengals, Burrow started playing. Jamar Chase, they lit it up. And against the Seahawks, he was fully healthy. And so that's what you saw. And why was it? For me, I think the Seahawks defense is on its way. It really is to once again become that dominant defense. And you'll hear from Pete Carroll. And what I mean by dominant, and Pete Carroll really kind of explained it. He said, we have playmakers all over the field. That's what he's trying to produce. That's what he wants out there. Now, not all 11 players, they're going to be playmakers per se. But as you know, the Seahawks, when they drafted Devin Witherspoon, people were like, well, why? And now you're seeing him play. But Pete wanted to have a back line, defensive back line, if you will, that is just hard to pass against. And then he's got, obviously, Bobby Wagner and Jordan Brooks that came out well. So your two linebackers there, one, first ballot Hall of Famer. So now you've got Jamal Adams is back, Quandre Diggs, Witherspoon, Tariq Woolen, and Trey Brown. Because the Seahawks, they play five DBs. Um, and so if you've got five in the back end that are playmakers, and every one of those that I mentioned are playmakers, that makes it difficult for opposing quarterback. Now you got linebackers that can play and read. They can read the play pre-snap, post-snap as well. Bobby Wagner has seen everything. So now that's what you have there. So that's now seven, right? And then Boa Mafe having a stellar year, and I'll go through the numbers and all that stuff, but also um, Uchenna Nwasu, great. Now you got your edge rushers. Now what you're having now is the amazing play of Jaron Reed. And so when you have Jaron Reed and Draymond Jones in your D line giving you pressure, now you've got a defense that's hard to move the ball against. What's missing is just the continuity, just for them to really know where the other person is going to be, and that just takes time. And it'd be interesting. They play the Arizona Cardinals this Sunday. I think you'll see an amazing defense there. But I got off on the tangent. I'll circle back on that. But there's kind of other couple things here that one I'm miffed. So people start with the so. Jewel Lloyd was voted all WNBA second team. And I'm like, wait a minute. Let me give you Jewel Lloyd's numbers. She set a WNBA singles. This is what she did this year. She sets a WNBA single season record for points scored with 939 points in 38 of 40 games. Her 24 points, she averages 24.7 points per game, was the second highest in league history, and was the highest average since Maya Moore averaged 23.9 in 2014. Lloyd set a league record this season with 21 games, scoring 25 or more points, and led the WNBA with 12 games where she had 30 or more points. How about this one? She scored in double figures in all 38 games that she played in, and holds the longest active streak with 41 consecutive games with 10 or more points. Okay, so she deserves to be second team. I bring this up because here's one more. Lloyd was fouled more than any other player in the league in 2023, and she drew 6.8 fouls per game. That's the highest since Diana Taurasi drew 7.8 fouls per game in 2013. I bring this up because I think the WNBA, which, is an amazing league, and, we follow and we try to bring you that. It's a good product. They're in a precarious position right now, I believe. They've got a new TV deal. So part of the issue, well, no, that's not true. It's coming up. Part of the issue is, are they selling their soul for clicks? And what I mean by that is, you've got a great product, right? Don't do the most popular thing. Do the right thing. And that's what I mean when you take a look at what happened here with Drew Lloyd. So the question then you would ask is, okay, having said that, who then was on the all WNBA first team? So I'll go over that list. So Breanna Stewart for the New York Liberty, who are playing right now. They're down 2-1 against the Las Vegas Aces, led by Asia Wilson. But Stewart, she left Seattle last year, right? She was voted the 2023 WNBA MVP, averaging 23 points, 9.3 points, and 23.0 points, and also 9 rebounds, and then 3 assists, and 1.57 blocks. Well, which is great. I'm not, she ranked second in WNBA scoring. All right, that fine. Third in rebounding and and double doubles 20. Okay, fair enough. Then Alyssa Thomas, first team, 6'2 forward, second place in voting for the WNBA MVP award. Wait, what? Yeah. So she sets a WNBA single season record for triple doubles, six of them, double doubles, 28, her 10th season. And she led the league in rebounding, but she's nowhere. She averaged 15.5 points per game. Now remember, Lloyd, 24.7 points per game. Next up, Asia Wilson, 6'4". She was named the Defensive Player of the Year for the second consecutive year. And I'm like, fine. Again, Ezzy Magbor, she's not quite ready there to take over for Wilson. But really, they gave Wilson should have been the MVP. She ranked third in the league in scoring at 22.8. So you have Lloyd, you have Stewart, and then you've got Wilson. Okay. Second in rebounding, 9.5. And double doubles, 22. So here's the issue here. If you look at Wilson's numbers, they encapsulate Alyssa Thomas's as well as Breanna Stewart. So I took a turn right here, but just saying that Wilson should have been the MVP. But my overall discussion here is about why is Jewel Lloyd not first team? Okay, so you can't take off Asia Wilson. You can't take off Breanna Stewart, right? Fair, all right? And so fourth player, Nafisia Caller. You saw her here, and she hit that game winner. She ranked the fourth. This is the fourth season. She finished fourth in the voting for for MVP. She was selected to the All-League Defensive Second Team along with Magbor, the 6'1 forward. Again, another forward ranked fourth in the league in scoring. Fourth, she averaged 21.5 points per game. Are you kidding me? Seventh in rebounding over 37 games. Okay, yeah, so that's not making sense to me, right? I mean, something's fishy here, just in terms of, that's my point here, in terms of how are you doing in this voting? All right, last one, Satu Salabali for the Dallas Wings. Okay, she was voted most improved player. She averaged 18.6 points per game. Wait, what? No. So Lloyd is averaging 24 points per game. Sabali is averaging 18.6 points, 8.1 rebounds. Let's check that in terms of, where Lloyd is in terms of rebounds. I don't know why. I mean, it doesn't make no sense to me. Let me breathe a little bit and finish in terms of, I get it. She gets a career high 18.6 points and 8.1 rebounds and 4.4 assists, but that doesn't it doesn't measure up, and she's a forward. So there's no guard on the WNBA first team. How does that work? Clearly, it doesn't work, and that's what I'm saying in terms of the WNBA must be careful, because that's a popular vote. Not now, and Lloyd, remember, she was the WNBA All-Star Game MVP. Look, y'all gotta WNBA, y'all gotta stick to the numbers. You gotta have integrity in your voting, and you gotta do the right things in terms of that. You really want to be careful, because at some point here, right, are you going to lose your soul? Are you everybody, it's like the new kid in town. Everybody loves the new kid in town. Everybody likes the latest and the greatest and most brightest and everything else. But at some point, what you want is sustainability in your league, because you already have a good product. Now just manage it for the long sustainability. That's what That's where, for me, the WNBA has to, let sure let the players be themselves. You're carving out carving out a niche here, right? I mean, the stars and everything else, and they're joining, the NBA and everybody else now. I love the WNBA's pregame tunnel, the fashion and all that stuff. I love it. You're getting all the stars coming out to the game. Heck, Sue Bird was at the game to watch Breonna Stewart because Game 3 was in New York between the Liberty and which the Liberty won uh, over the Aces. So you're getting a lot of stars coming out there, which is great. But let me just finish off on this. The second team, Neko Ogumike for the Sparks. She was second team. Jackie Young for the Aces. She averaged 17.7. Ogumike averaged 19.9 rebounding. So Chelsea Gray, another guard. Um, you know, she just averaged 7.3 assists per game. So, and then of course Lloyd, as I mentioned. So, and Sabrina in SQ. So there you go. I mean, she set a W single record with 128 3-pointers in SQ did. And the previous mark was Diana Taurasi's 1.1. So, anyways, that's my rant just in terms of the WNBA, and they just have to be, uh, yeah, Jewel Lloyd should have been on the first team. That first or second team, does it really matter? I think somewhat, you know what I mean? You just really want to be careful. As I said, it's a troubling trend. It's like the Major League Soccer, right? And got to get Peter Hattrip on here next week because, as you know, the Sounders are St. Louis this Saturday, and and the Sounders are third place. And depending on where they go, what result they get, they could either stay in third or they could be sixth. And so the top four teams in the MLS get to host a playoff game. So a lot on the line. So my point was comparing the WNBA a little bit with what Major League Soccer has done with the Lionel Messi coming in, right? And so, for Inter Miami, he's amazing, one of the best soccer players ever, right? And so a great run there, but at what cost, right? And what I mean by that is that how much special privilege was he getting? Not a lot, but now that the team is out of the playoffs and Messi's like, well, I want to go back and play, he's injured right now, but I want to go back and play for my national team. Fine. You just have to be careful it was when you are pandering to, you know, the media and it gets you the revenue, but the sustainability part of it. So in Miami, they did a real good job. Chris Henderson, who was here with the Sounders, they did a good job. But now it's like, what do you do next season, right? The new shiny kid. You got to get players around there. You don't want MLS to be just Lionel Messi, even though he's one of the greatest players ever, right? So you want to build a league of amazing players. That is the sustainability. You want to start to get some of those younger players from overseas over. So you want to make sure if you're the WNBA, you're just not you know, a popular league for the top five. You want to showcase, yes, your brightest stars, but you want to also make sure you're doing with integrity and you're showcasing your top to bottom, how good you are. All right, I got to move on. So there you go. The Kraken, they are back tonight. As a matter of fact, the Seattle Kraken are back home. It's the first game this season. And for the Kraken, they're actually 0-2. They've played. They got to win. And so right now the Kraken, they played their first on the road, and they're in need of a win, and they'll play the next three games here. The Kraken will. So if you get a chance tonight, if you can, they're playing the Colorado Avalanche. And so what you want to do right now, the Kraken are 0-2-1. And so the seventh already, and the kind of rematch of Game 7 last year in the playoffs when the Kraken upset the Avalanche, who were the defending Stanley Cup champions. So that first game today, the Kraken's home opener is at 7 p.m. And then they'll play Thursday. They'll host Carolina. Saturday, the Rangers at 7. And then again and then they're on the road. So if you get a chance, try to go there. But we're going to hear from Kraken head coach Dave Hextall here, just in terms of, what he has to say about, his team needs. There you go. Nicely done. His team needs a win. And so let's see if we can't get a lot of video here. So we're gonna do quite a bit of this. All right, share the screen and let's hear. There we go. All right, coach. Let me see if we can't get you talking about how your team needs a win. And so, all right, there we go. So we want to go to that one. All right, hold on. So I'm going to tell you. Let me go back. Try this again. All right. There we go. Figure out. There we go. This would be Coach Dave Hextall. Just talking about, starting out 0.
We got to be real honest with ourselves. And we went into Vegas, and you can probably make arguments there. If we get a bounce or two, we have a chance to win that game. We fell off of it a little bit in Nashville. We didn't play well enough. For 30 minutes, we deserved a better fate, and then the last 30 minutes of that hockey game, we're pretty honest with ourselves, is we didn't do the things we needed to do. So, you take a look at the back end of the road trip, and we felt like we were better in St. Louis. And certainly, could have deserved a better fate, but that wasn't meant to be. We got the 1 point. You'd love to have 2, especially with some of the opportunities, that we had in that game and in the latter part of that game, as well as the good goaltending that we received once again. So really, it's pretty short-term memory, and get back and, a good day off yesterday. Really good day of practice today, and now we know the challenge ahead of us and the opportunity ahead of us.
And there you go. And so really what he's referring to, that was Kraken head coach Dave Haskell. And he is. I mean, the challenge they have to do is they're playing Colorado. As I said, a team they played before, and one that they, they need a win. That's absolutely right. But it's opening night and all of that stuff. So it should be, you're hoping that the Kraken can, put something together here. And as I said, if you haven't got your ticket, tickets are still there. So go out there and see a hockey game. All right. So there we go. Some quick notes. Seattle U. We had Nate Delicon, the coach, the number-ranked Seattle U men's soccer team. I mean, they won again, and they 2-0 win. James Morris got a hat trick. I mean, he got a brace. That's what they call it in soccer. It's a brace. And look, they've got a few games left, but I got to tell you, the Seattle U here is in a really good position, just in terms of, where they're. They've got. If you get a chance, go out Saturday, because the Red Hawks have one more home game before they finish off on the road here. But again, they won. The Red Hawks did, and so that is. Hey, look, you've got a team over there that's playing some really good soccer, and so what's up next for them is they will now go to pull up the schedule here. Yeah, so they're 4-1 in conference, and they've only lost once at home. So they've all that's left. They have three home games. Saturday against San Jose State, 7 p.m. It is senior night, and if you can get out there, I'll be there and doing the game. I'm not even sure who my partner is. I did the California Baptist game with Andrew, and as I said, the Red Hawks won 3-0, and James Morris, he leads the conference in scoring. It's a really fun game. So 7 p.m. Champions Field 7. p.m. I guess I could do a shameless plug. If you're not able to make the game, you can hear me and Andrew Harvey will be on ESPN Plus broadcasting the game. So either way, there you go. So the Red Hawks keep winning. They have two more games. They have three, as I said, home game, and then they're at Utah Tech, and then at UNLV, and then after that, it is the WAC tournament. So, yeah, I'm a little bit of a homer. It's when you broadcast a team, you have to kind of cheer for that team. So, there it is. I tell you, so I'm going to start the Seahawks stuff now. It'll be very interesting because we're going to go. We'll do more of the Husky on the other side because I don't want to take up too much of the Greg's thunder there. Greg Lewis coming on at 12:15. But right now, so what happened with the Seahawks, right? And then, we saw that it was, as I said, going back to that, the 17-13 loss to the Bengals. I mean, it was a good loss per se. I think the offense they had 5 trips in the red zone. They were 1 for 5. They only scored 1 touchdown there. The Cincinnati Bengals was a good defense. And the issue, for me, I thought that what they needed to do once they got inside the red zone, I would have done more screens and maybe more intermediate routes. The Bengals, Trey Hendrickson, he came in with 6 sacks. He's an amazing player. And that rush, they brought the pressure, the Bengals did, and it overwhelmed the Seahawks offensive line when it counted. Now, you got to remember, the Seahawks had a shuffled offensive line as well. So Phil Haynes returned at left guard, and he's normally the right guard. But they put Jake Kern there. I mean, Jake Kern was your right tackle. They put Anthony Bradford at right guard because Damian Lewis couldn't go. And that's the first time that Anthony Bradford has played right guard. He started one game at left guard, and that was for when Phil Haynes was out. And then Bradford came in also in the Detroit game and the Carolina Panthers game. So it was shuffled just in terms of the Seahawks offensive line, which we had been playing well, but it's kind of what I mentioned about in the defense. You needed to get some time together, the cohesiveness, and Abe Lucas has been out. I mean, I'll be honest with you, they're just a better team just in terms of that. So we're going to go to the highlights. He's got the highlights there. So I was going to pop them up here. So we're going to show you. Kind of go. There we go. There we go. So here at the top, I'll show you these lights. Bam.
The run this year, second to last in that category. Smith to throw it, tight window, makes the connection to Tyler Lockett for a first down. But Charles Cross is back in. Talented group of running backs and receivers. Here's Walker driving through an arm tackle. That's not going to work. 9 yards. Motion man Charbonnet, interesting setup.
And so this is exactly what I'm talking about here. They got away from this. The Seahawks did. If you notice here, you can see how the rush is coming 1, 2, 3 here, and there is Walker out here in the flat. Charbonnet is also right here. So this is a good run concept, just in terms of what the Seahawks should have done more, but they went away from it, and we'll see.
Here, fake it. Smith loops it, caught by Walker. Walker the tightrope and a first down. Antoine Odom in 2009, Eddie Edwards in 83. Smith.
Another one. Gino does a good job of quick release here. He gets the ball out.
On 2nd and 13 on a line to Noah.
And that's the other thing. The Seahawks went away from the tight ends. I don't know why. Well, I think they brought him in to block, but when you bring in your tight ends to chip, and your running backs, it takes away the intermediate route.
This has been the Achilles heel. Obviously, not all third downs are equal. This a manageable number. 3rd and 4, Smith in the pocket, and complete. Smith in Jigba coming.
And this is actually something that the Seahawks, improved on third down. They were 5 for 12 at 41.7. They held the Bengals to 3 for 11. And again, the rookie, it's time they're getting him. They've been trying to get the ball to Smith and Jigba. And so they
back to the state where he starred.
Geno Smith threw a bullet pass there and said, I'm going to at least get an interference call on this one, and he did.
First and goal from the 1, handoff. Walker takes it in. Touchdown, Seattle. What an opening statement for the Seahawks.
Rookie out of Duke and UCLA. He ends up becoming the lead blocker for them, but he really didn't need. These are hurting our ball club an extra 15 yards against our offense.
So back it up. They're now at the 25-yard line. Smith on 2nd and 21. Deep shot. Lockett over the shoulder grab. Geno Smith drops it in the bucket perfectly to the veteran Lockett. 2nd down and 6. Running play. Walker. Huge hole. Walker takes on the DB and wins.
The adjustment that was made there, the Bengals, started stacking up the middle and then bringing the rush. And as they did that, it took away the Seahawks.
Across the 45. Good block from Craw.
And taking Cam Taylor-Britt to go with Metcalf on key downs because he likes that size differential being negated by Cam Taylor-Britt's size himself.
Myers, this is from 55 yards away. He knocks it through. 14-10, Bengals. 2nd and 5. Burrow, timing route. Intercepted. Chase the intended receiver and Trey Brown in front of him for the pick.
Actually, guys, I'm gonna replay this just to show you. Trey Brown is one of those studs that I talked about just in terms of the Seahawks. They call him Big Trey. Backline, defensive backfield.
Trey Brown in front of him for the.
Watch how he plays.
2nd and 5. Burrow.
So Jamar Chase sees the ball. Brown sees the ball, and then he's going to take this route right here to turn right there. And to do that, it looks simple, but you have to make sure you keep eye on the ball. Don't put your hands on the receiver and turn your hips and then jump that route.
Timing route. Intercepted. Chase the intended receiver and Trey Brown in front of him for the pick.
Before having an injury against Carolina and missing the New York game, but he had a pick 6, a sack, a forced fumble at Detroit.
3rd and 8. Smith gets rid of it, hits Bobo. Still going, Bobo inside the 5.
And maybe not as many plays for him as normal.
2nd catch of the day for Higgins. New set of downs for Cincinnati. Burrow in trouble. Tossed down by Reed.
And you like that. And I talked about Jaron Reed, and if we have time, we'll hear Pete Carroll just talk about and what he said yesterday. Pete Carroll talk about Jaron Reed, and he's been the key. His ability to bring the pressure down the middle is what's helping the Seahawks defense. And as I said, to start to show him and Boy Mafe, their ability to put pressure and Draymond Jones is what's helping the Seahawks defense. So you're going to watch here as they come through. And there is Uchenna Nwosu. So he's coming in there and taking this. I'll go back just a sec. So watch how they're going to go here. And then Jaron Reed is going to do this stunt coming through here.
Rush. Burrow. Can't break away. Draymond Jones. Robbins to punt it. DJ Dallas to return it. Holds steady at the 34, moves it upfield. Dallas into Cincinnati territory, and that's where Seattle's going to open up on its next possession. 2nd and 10 from the 31 after the timeout. Smith, the deep drop. Smith loads it up. Caught. Big hit at the 11 on Bobo. Flags fly. And Bobo hangs on to the football. 2nd and 10 for the Bengals from the gun. Burrow, step and throw.
This one is worth watching again. A lot of people were wondering about the Seahawks just in terms of when they
for the Bengals from the gun.
Picked up Devon Witherspoon, right? with that pick. And this is why they did that. Here's Witherspoon here. And he is just locked down right there. Now, Jamal Adams is back here looking to help. But if you notice, right over here, marked up, Kobe Bryant's over here. And there is Quandre Diggs helping out here. And what it enables you to do?
Burrow, step and throw.
And Tariq Woolen was him playing the defense there.
Incomplete. He's trying to feed it to Chase, and it hit the back of Devin Witherspoon. It's now 3rd and 10.
I'm going to watch this because this is a good stunt blitz.
Burrow.
And this is Boye Mafe. And this is something that now when you can get pressure,
Now 3rd and 10.
You can bring it from different places. So Mafe is going to come up here. I think he's going to take this route here. And so Burrow's trying to look here. So he's looking this way, but the pressure. And also, what's the stunt that comes there?
Burrow.
Bam.
Oh, toss down Mafe. Mafe was acquired in the Russell Wilson deal, the pick that they used, 2nd-round pick out of Minnesota. Burrow.
And this is one of these plays that
check it down.
This is what happens when Jamal Adams can play. He's often injured, but this is what he brings you. His ability to recognize the play and
the pick that they used, 2nd-round pick out of Minnesota.
So there we go. I'm going to go back just a second here. So you're going to watch Adams here. So they're playing boom, cover man there. So they got 2 deep safeties up here. So basically that's a cover 2. And now Jamal Adams plays closer to the line, and his ability to go there to watch the quarterback, and he's watching this space right here because Woolen's going to take that route.
The Russell Wilson deal, the pick that they used, 2nd-round pick out of Minnesota. Burrow, check it down. Williams blown up by Adams. Ground and a touchdown. Shotgun for Geno Smith. Smith pulls the trigger, hooks up with Metcalf down the sideline, out of bounds.
Now, a lot was talked about DK Metcalf because he did get that penalty. It was earlier in the game, and Pete talked about it, where DK was blocking downfield. He didn't hear the whistle, so the whistle blows. DK, I think it's coming up, and he actually, hits the receiver 20 yards away from the play. Team gets unnecessary roughness. And part of Pete said, hey, you know what? DK didn't hear the whistle. The ongoing discussion here is how do you let DK be the most physical, dominant receiver that he can be staying within the guidelines of the game? There's no doubt that he's one of the most physical receivers. Every time he catches the ball in bounds, you'll notice 2 or 3 players go at him. I mean, he is a unique player. So this is what coaches have to figure out. How can I let him be physical and teach him to stay within the confines of the game so he doesn't cross that line? It's always difficult.
A big play, Trey Moniker. And right there, you see the left arm? Inside arm with the push on the chest.
Let me go back. There we go.
Out of bounds.
A big play, Trey Moniker. And right there, you see the left arm? Inside.
Okay, so, yeah, they went right to, I don't know, do we have a pre-snap of that? No, they snapped right to the DK. I can't show you the full game because of NFL rights and whatnot. But
a big play, Trey Moniker.
Defense, and Julian Love is closing in. But Trey Brown, again, I mean, how these guys are taught to play defense. The back end of the Seahawks defense is something I'm telling you, Seahawks fans, it's going to be amazing. I mean, this defense is, Pete talked about it yesterday. He goes, we're just getting started. So take a look at this defense. You see, covered here, and he's Trey Brown's looking at the receiver's eyes, so he's going to close in on this space, go side by side, and get his hands in there.
And right there, you see the left arm? Inside arm with the push on the chest of Trey Brown. Watch the inside arm right there of Higgins, number 5 in black. His inside left arm with a slight push off. And you don't let DK Metcalf make a big play on you if you're Cincinnati.
Smith, step, dials it up. Caught Tyler Lockett down.
And that obviously by far the Seahawks' best receiver. I think something to note here is how Geno's going to step up in the pocket. I thought there's a minute 18 here. There are a couple of times he took a deep drop here and then stepped up in the pocket. As the last couple plays that are coming up, he doesn't take a deep drop. And when you do that, not because in the red zone, mind you, but when you don't take that deep drop, you've got limited amount of time to get the ball off there. If you do take the deep drop, then you have to step up. So here you go. He steps up in the pocket.
Step, dials it up. Caught Tyler Lockett down at the 10. Nick Scott with a tackle.
Okay, so there you go. And so that really is some highlights from the Seahawks game. And as I said, I think you've got a team that's finding its way, that's really growing in terms of that defense. That defense looks mighty good. And so if they can continue to grow just in terms of the three lines, that is the D line, the linebackers, and the back line. Now, I think, as I said, the offense a little bit, I think what you're going to need there is you just need Abe Lucas back. Charles Cross is fine playing there, but you want Abe Lucas as your left tackle there, your right tackle, because Pete talked about the Jake Kern who filled in. He was hurt. He got hurt in the game, and so that kind of hindered the Seahawks ability to what plays they could run, because when that tackle is injured, he's not mobile, right? And so he gutted it out, which is what you want from a team like that, but awfully a tough ask there. And so you just, if they can get that healthy offensive line together, which I think they will, Abe Lucas won't be back this week, but at least even if you have to start Anthony Bradford at right guard, I think you'll be fine. And sure, you can, Charles Cross is, solid. He has been, right? And Phil Haynes, you get those two, then Haynes obviously at left tackle and Haynes at left guard and Cross over there at left tackle. So you get those players playing again, then I think you can bring some continuity, and then your offense, you should be able to run play action. You should be able to, you get your running game on track. So if you get your running game on track, then you can have the play action against a team like the Arizona Cardinals, which is, and the Seahawks, they need that win, because it's a division rivalry, and the Seahawks right now, they lost to the Rams. So part of this, the really important thing about these games is that you have to win your division games. And so they've got the Rams, the Cardinals, and then a week later the Browns come in. So it's then they're at Baltimore. So it's the quarter pole of the season here, and now it's the second. The from now to the half of the season. And, who do they got? They've got, as I said, the Cardinals, the Browns. These are 2 home games. They go to Baltimore. Then they have the Washington Commanders here. And then it gets really interesting, because then November 19th, the Rams, they go to the Rams. They host the 49ers. They go to Dallas. And then they go back to the 49ers. So, it's some very Interesting schedule there. So that is kind of the NFL wrap up, if you will. And man, so I'm gonna switch right. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go on break for a quick second, and we will get Greg Lewis on here. And he was ready 9 minutes ago. Didn't even know, but he's ready now. So let's go on a quick break. When we come back, Greg Lewis will join us.
This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not busy tearing the roof off the suckers, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio .world.
Hey, Seattle, here are some storage tips to love food, stop waste. Onions make potatoes sprout faster. Keep onions away from potatoes. Ripe bananas give off a gas that makes the fruit around them ripen faster. Store bananas away from other fruits. 40% of food in the U.S. goes uneaten. Save money, save food, save the planet. Visit Seattle Public Utilities for more tips.
Women are not an homogenous group.
We face discrimination differently depending on factors such as ethnicity, age, socioeconomic status, and more.
Rainier Avenue Radio is proud to amplify women's voices.
They are the experts of their own lives, initiating conversations within their community about challenges they face, the solutions they're working on, and the opportunities they see.
Please join us this Sunday from 2 to 5 for Women's Voices on Air. We know our challenges. We are the experts of our lives.
We are master multitaskers, prioritizing our family, friends, and our faith above our own needs.
Our needs and voices are too often overlooked.
Please join us this Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. for Women's Voices on Air.
We tell our stories in our own way.
What's up, everyone? It's your girl, Queen Bree, inviting you to come join me on Clean Greens Living. Broadcasted Tuesdays, 12:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, live right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. On Clean Greens Living, we talk farming, community, and ways to being healthy. So come join me and let's discuss ways to create a healthier you and a healthier community.
Atlantic Street Center has been serving the children, youth, and families of the Seattle-King County area since 1910. We partner with families and communities to raise healthy, successful children and youth through services including counseling, early learning, youth development, domestic violence, and education support for school-aged children. Committed to serving the African-American community, Atlantic Street Center provides services and support for all marginalized people. Learn more at AtlanticStreetCenter.org.
You know you can't get enough of Rainier Avenue Radio.
All right, let's go. We are back. Seattle Sports Weekly and Rainier Avenue Radio.world. That was just a cluster, if you will. So we the legend is on, and then we put him on break and everything else. But you know what? We're gonna go right to him. I'm not gonna play another videos and nothing like that. Greg Lewis, he's been on the show. Now look, he's a Pac-12. He's also a Husky legend. And the most interesting thing about Greg Lewis is the first Doak Walker Award winner, which is given to the top running back in collegiate football. And I could go down the list, but I mean, he won the first one. So Greg, and he's also, can you come on? He's also he's on KJR. He's a community member. We can talk about it all the time. That apologies. I got to get you on. I mean, man, we got to get you more than 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
It's all good. I'll also mention, I went to high school during the Seattle's busing era. And so I went to Ingram High School, which is the last Seattle public school to win the state football championship. So just keep that in mind too, you guys. Ingram's the last one. We need somebody else to step up because it's been a lot of years, since that's happened. But we're here
Yeah.
to talk Husky football and what happened this weekend. So let's go.
No, you go. And you know what? I mean, everybody knows the score and everything else. Just give me perspective. Like you said, high school, you know the high school. You played for the UW. Just what was Saturday like?
So I'm going to go out and say that this might have been the most important Husky football game and win at Husky Stadium in regular season history. I mean, I know that sounds, sometimes you think maybe that's a little hyperbole, but with it being two teams ranked in the top 10 at Husky Stadium, that's only happened 5 times in the history of the stadium. Your most hated rival, who has over the last 25 years, can't say 20 anymore because we beat them 4 out of the last 7, but over the last 25 years, they've kind of, dominated you, quite a bit with Phil Knight's investment in Oregon football. The last time these teams will meet in the PAC conference, as we all know, that conference is going away. And with 2 potential Heisman Trophy candidates, this university, I'm still the highest offensive finisher, which was 6th in the Heisman Trophy voting at the University of Washington. Steve Entman is the highest overall 4th, but highest offensive person. So actual Heisman Trophy candidate that could end up in New York, that could win the whole thing, battling another Heisman Trophy candidate. College game day being on the scene, us, having a chance to move up in their rankings, this and get into the playoffs and a national championship opportunity. This was the most important game in Husky Stadium regular season history, and we came out with a victory. That's huge. That's absolutely huge. Saturday set up a lot of things for this team, and if we take care of business, we got 2 games coming up that could be considered trap games. You've heard of that in sports. You overlook the lesser opponents. You just came off a big emotional win. Your emotions were riled up, and now you got to be able to corral those, refocus, and come back out and play a game where you're not going to have as much emotional energy, but you got to have the focus and the drive and determination to get past what's considered a lesser opponent, because in the Pac-12, everybody can play. And then you got a gauntlet at the end of the year. You got USC, Utah, Oregon State, and Washington State. And a couple of those are on the road. So you got to take care of business. But if you do, you can end up in the Pac-12 championship playing the same Oregon team again on a neutral site, and they'll be fired up. So, there's a lot at stake here. Saturday set us up for a lot. And if these guys can stay the course, stay focused, the coaches can keep them, with the goal in mind, which, let's face it, Michael Penix and Rome Odunze and Jalen McMillan and Braylon Trice, they all came back to win a national championship. They didn't come back to win the Pac-12. They didn't come back for a last hurrah and hang out together and, be buds. I'm sure NIL allowed them to have the opportunity to stay another year, but they came back to win that national championship. So let's go.
Okay, so to your note, I mean, Arizona State, 7:30 game. That's it. And then the schedule reads out, at Stanford and then at USC. You talked about, and then you've got a tough Utah team. Might not playing as well as they wanted to, but they're probably the most physical team have been in the Pac-12, right?
Oh yeah.
In the
two-time defending champ, and I guarantee you their quarterback is back for our game. That's the reason they haven't played that well this year. And they're still 5-1. Their quarterback, who was considered one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the conference, has been out all year. Cam Rising, but I don't know. He's either going to sit out the whole year or he's going to play against us. Because I just have that feeling.
And then you talked about it, Oregon State, and then they last time they were down there, they lost, right?
Yeah. We got to go down there, and I can tell you that Oregon State team did have they stubbed their toe against Washington State, and hats off to the Cougs for pulling that out. But since the 3rd quarter of that Washington State game, they have played fabulous football. Oregon State has. Their quarterback, DJ Ungalele, is finally rounding into the number 1, high school player that a lot of folks thought he was coming out when he originally went to Clemson. And he's starting to play well. They have a great running back. Martinez is one of the leading rushers in the conference and one of the highest yard per average guys in the country. And they play defense. any team in this conference that plays defense is going to be in football games. So they are a good defensive team. They're balanced because they have a great running game, and then they have a quarterback who's starting to, live up to his prior height from 4 years ago.
No, you know what, Greg? Yeah, Oregon State beat Utah 21, and then they beat Cal 52-40, and then they're coming off, I would say, an impressive win over UCLA because UCLA was 25th. So, the one thing, going back to something that Kalen DeBoer said during the press conference yesterday, he said, you know what, we reminded the players that this is when it all started, was against Arizona State. Kind of the way they turned the corner against Arizona State. And so, the mentality here, how do you keep these kids focused?
I think, it goes back to what the goals that were set at the beginning of the year. Like I said, these guys didn't come back to play for anything less than a national championship. And there are steps to that. Yes, of course, you got to win the Pac-12 first. And so what you do is you refocus them on the goals that are right in front of them, which is this win. That Oregon win doesn't mean anything if you turn around and give it back and lose to ASU. So you have to be focused on this game, this moment. This is a step in that goal that we have to first win the Pac-12 conference, then get into the playoff, win the game there, and then get to the national championship. So you refocus them on their goals. Yep, you celebrated. We had a great time. Everything was fantastic on Saturday. It was a big game against a big opponent, your rival. Now bring those emotions back in and get laser focused on the step of the goal. They always talk about a journey of 1,000 steps. It started with just one. Well, this is the very next one that's right in front of you.
Good insight just in terms of that. Do the Huskies have to run the table?
They don't have to run the table necessarily if you're talking about getting to the playoff, but they can't lose to just anybody.
Right.
They can't stub their toe against Arizona State or against Stanford. Let's say some weird universe, they lose to Oregon State, but they still get into that Pac-12 championship. They could lose to Oregon State, get in the Pac-12 championship, win that game, and get into the final. I think that would still qualify them. There's some other scenarios, possibly if somehow you lose to USC and you don't get into the conference championship game. Oregon does. Oregon wins it, but you got to win over Oregon. So somehow in a world that has never happened before, 2 Pac-12 teams get into the playoff. That would be, this is, if any year that could happen, this is the year, because the strength of schedules would be so off the charts for teams in the Pac-12 that a one-loss Pac-12 team, let's say we lost to USC at SC on the road and they continue to do well. They lost to Notre Dame, but let's say they don't lose any other games except for maybe the Pac-12 championship. So their strength of schedule is high. Oregon gets in and wins. So you got Washington and Oregon both having one loss, and Oregon's being to Washington. There's a scenario where possibly, but you don't want to, you don't want to take that chance. You want to handle your business. If you get into that Pac-12 championship with one win or less, I still think you can get into the national playoff.
All right, we got to go. See, there you go. He dropped nuggets and away we go. I promise you, I will make sure we get him on for a lot longer. So, Greg, that just succinct and perfect. And thank you, Greg Lewis, Pac-12, UW legend, on Denver Broncos as well, and Ingram High School grad. All right, we got to go. Thank you all for watching and listening. I'm Mazvita Maraire, Seattle Sports Weekly, D-Money. Good show. Talk to you all later.